What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole? If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. I cannot tell you how much it means when you do that. It really does change the channel and change the way things work, and I promise you of that. You're the one who's making things happen right now, not me. I'm just the one who's talking. So just a huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here to get involved with the channel. It really does mean the world to me. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for walking away during my girlfriend's proposal because I was embarrassed? We were celebrating my girlfriend's 42nd birthday over Zoom with my parents and her parents the other day. My 39 male girlfriend and I have an okay relationship for the past 14 years, and 2 years ago we decided to move in together. But recently, after the births of our 2 kids, 2 female, almost 1 female, it's been hard to stand each other or see her as I used to. She has developed mind-boggling insecurities, including trying to make me quit my job as a club promoter and going as far as getting a second job so I could do so, because she claims that I'm barely getting any work and that she's insecure about all the temptation I'm around, and that's the time I get a day rather than the after-hours job. Her birthday party, if we can call it that, just involved us drinking, eating cake and talking to our parents. However, when I thought we were all about to sign off, she exits the room and comes back shortly after. She gets on her knees and says that she loves me and wants to join her life with mine completely. She said she could not wait any longer and decided to take the initiative. She then asks if I will marry her. I just felt very naked and exposed. Frankly, we did talk about proposals and rings, but I thought it was more of a wishful thinking thing. And while I was more inclined to think about that possibility previously, with everything going on, I thought she knew I didn't need more. Everybody was staring at me, and I was pretty mad that she put me in a situation where I could be blindsided like that. So I told her I needed to get some air and told the people on Zoom to have a nice night and thank them for celebrating with us. When I came back inside, my girlfriend is crying and I'm treated to a 3-hour lecture on how she regrets giving her all to me, as if I haven't done the same. Am I the arsehole? I get that theoretically I'm supposed to be blindsided, but I admit that I was, and she basically asked me to do something that I really didn't want to do, and I felt embarrassed in front of my parents. Now, I might be wrong in this one, but this whole story, it just felt like, in my head, personally, before you jump on me, it just felt like this person was stringing this other person along by saying they had 14 years together and an okay relationship. I mean, come on. And with your okay relationship, you decided to move in together and have kids. You brought kids into it too. And the majority of the time with these public proposals, secret proposals, I would say, you know, that person would be the arsehole if they put you on the spot and made you feel like shit because of it. And I never think it's the right thing to do. Maybe if you know each other that well, you know, but if you're unsure of the answer, then you just don't do it. But in this case, you talked about it. You talked about rings and you discussed marriage. So you made it like, yes, this might actually happen. And don't get me wrong, OP isn't the arsehole for not wanting to accept marriage. If they don't want to accept it, they shouldn't accept it. It wouldn't be a healthy thing to do right now. Definitely not. But for the whole stringing along that I'm seeing in this story, you are the arsehole in that situation. In my opinion, of course. But Norcat says, you're the arsehole, goddamn, just break up with her already and let her move on with her life. Double arsehole for tying her down with kids and then getting all blubbery about commitment. 2 fucking kids already. I guarantee you that your lackadaisical attitude is causing more pain than you realise. Oh, or maybe you realise, and like the arseholes of the world, you don't care. Get your shit together and be a better person for your children. Subversive Socialite says, you're the arsehole, 14 years and 2 kids. Get your shit together. And Amara Undone says, you're the arsehole, not for saying no, but for stringing her along in a relationship when it was clear she wanted marriage and you don't. That's very clear at the end of your post. And Chicken Cousin says, you're the arsehole, she's the mother of your 2 children. You've been discussing proposals and rings. You expected her to read your mind instead of telling her how you felt. I thought she knew I didn't need more, even though we talked about proposals and rings. I thought it was just wishful thinking. Dude, you're leading her on and blaming you for acting in accordance with your actions. Yes, you should never surprise someone with a public proposal. No, she was not totally off the rails thinking that you were ready for a proposal. And Farside2489 says you're the arsehole, as most people believe never propose publicly unless you already know the answer. You and her talked about it, and like it or not, you led her on. You didn't tell her it was wishful thinking. Your talks plus being together 14 years with kids on top of it doesn't make her out of pocket for asking publicly. You are not the arsehole for not wanting to accept. You are definitely the arsehole for being taken by surprise. You are also the arsehole for not blatantly stating your position. You don't want to get married to her. Instead, you avoided saying no on Zoom and listened to a lecture. Give her a straight explanation and let her decide her path from there. Edit to add. Also, in rereading your post, I gather that you are more upset about public proposal because she unwittingly exposed how you led her on. She even got on her knees in a show of vulnerability and romantic love. No, that's not manipulative. Save that dark reality for those who haven't been led on with several discussions about marriage and rings. The way you talk about her looks to me like you are used to portraying her in a certain way. Insecure, making outrageous claims. But to any level-headed person, especially those married to night shift workers, nothing is outrageous about her requests. Having a spouse on sparse night shifts messes up regular routine and is hard for the other spouse with young kids. You are also their parent and don't seem to care if your routine isn't meeting their needs. Also, the most amused distance in how you are discussing her feelings and how you led her on looks like you don't care about her much. It's not insecure to think that you have a wandering eye while you treat your girlfriend with little consideration. It's more like she senses red flags and is trying to forge a more secure path with you towards building a long-term family. You know, like healthy boundaries. Hope you grab some honesty, face how you feel about her, and then tell her ASAP. And I think that just pretty much sums up everything, well, how I'm feeling anyway. But how do you feel about this story? Do you think, no, the girlfriend shouldn't have proposed, that was totally the wrong thing to do there and then? Or do you think OP is stringing this person along? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for feeling gross that my boyfriend got his mother and I the same gift for Mother's Day? The title sums it up, I think. Obviously this happened some time ago, but it still comes up. I woke up on Mother's Day expecting something traditional. Breakfast in bed or somewhere out in a restaurant, some candy. He didn't have to get me a gift. It's really nice when he does. This year he gave me a hand-painted ceramic vase with a spray of violets on the front of it and the word family. I thought this was a beautiful and unique gift. I was ecstatic to set it out in my dining room with some of the fresh roses he bought me, because he always gets me a bouquet on Mother's Day and roses are my favourite. He also got me a little plush cactus, some candy, a card he wrote in, and took me out to dinner later. It was nice. But the next day I saw a gift bag on top of the fridge. He talked about also having picked out a gift for his mother, so I wanted to see what it was. I opened the bag and glaring out at me was my vase. I did a double take, slowly set the bag on the counter and went to check the dining room table where I'd left it. I felt a little sick when I saw it was still there. Someone hadn't moved it for some reason. My palms got sweaty and I decided to text him about it. Maybe he bought me an extra, for some reason. He told me he planned to give it to his mum. I put the phone down and didn't text back. It was wise to take the time to gather myself and make myself clear. When he came home, I told the kids to go play and asked to speak with him. I told him that it makes me uncomfortable that he bought the same gift from me as his mother. It was weird and gross. It feels thoughtless too, like he didn't really think about me when picking it out, and it made me feel lumped in with his mother, who I'm not too crazy about at all. Just altogether inconsiderate. He didn't and doesn't understand my feelings at all. He says he bought it because he knew we'd both love it, and pointed out that I had loved it before I realised he got the same one for his mum. He blames my feelings about his mother for why I'm unhappy with the gift, says it's insane that I still bring it up and it's making Christmas shopping a chore for him, while I think it's not fair at all. Just get something for me, not something for your mother. And then he points out that he got me a plush candy, my favourite flowers. It just goes round and round, so I'm finally asking you all. I don't personally see anything wrong with this, that, he saw a vase that you both might love. What's wrong with that? Buying a gift for two people, the same thing? I don't see nothing wrong with that. If he thinks that you'll both love it, there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. And it just seems like a huge overreaction on this. And it's not like he went and bought something kinky for you guys both, Which then, that would be gross. But buying a vase with family on isn't gross at all in my opinion. Wow. But Tiny Arsehole Jummer says, you're the arsehole, you are massively overreacting. And Cassidy says, you're the arsehole, if it was sexy lingerie, then yes. Extremely awkward, but he bought you a vase, plus did multiple other things for you that he isn't doing for his mum. Huge overreaction. And Throwaway Deadbed says, huge overreaction. If I were him, I would never get her another Mother's Day gift and tell her to fuck off. You're the arsehole. How rude can someone be? He very obviously spent time doing it. This lady is a huge arsehole. Even Speech 570 says you're the arsehole. It's Mother's Day and he chose to honour you both as mothers. If this was Valentine's Day or your birthdays or Christmas, that would be different, but plenty of guys send their mum a bouquet of flowers for Mother's Day as well as their wives. Let it go. Let it go, let it go. Oh God, don't get me started. And Charity Storm says, so he got you both the same vase, but he didn't get your mum the exact same card or flowers or plushie or candy or take her for dinner that night. I guess I understand if you think that part of it is lazy, but I don't think it's anything to get upset about when he did all those other things for you. He saw it and genuinely thought you'd both like it, and he was right. I'd love a gift like that. You're the arsehole right now. I'm sorry. Now, I'm going to turn it to you guys. What would you do in that situation? Say, if your other half bought both you and one of your parents a gift, the same gift. How would you feel about that? Would you be bothered by it if you really did like the gift and then found out, that other person's got it too? Would it suddenly put you off the gift? Let us know in the comments below. Now, our next story is from Hey Neighbor 1. Am I the arsehole for moving into the same neighborhood as my ex and his wife? My engagement to Matt ended after I found out he was cheating on me with Claire. He ended up marrying Claire after I broke up with him. During our engagement, we were both looking to move into a new house. Everything was ready for us to move in. We just had to sign the paperwork. Matt ended up moving into the house with Claire. This all happened 4 years ago and I've moved on since. My fiance and I were living in his house until 2 months ago. He decided he wanted to demolish and rebuild it, so we had to find another place to stay whilst it's being built. We ended up finding a house in the same neighbourhood as my ex and his wife. When Matt and I originally found the house he now lives in with his wife, I did all the work finding it. I absolutely loved that house and was more upset about not being able to move in it than finding out they were getting married. Also, the owner told us he would only rent the place to us for a year because he was planning to sell it, so I didn't actually think they would still be living there. We've lived here for 2 months now. The first month was completely peaceful and I didn't see my ex or his wife even once. In the second month, I became more friendly with some of my neighbours and they introduced me to other neighbours including Claire. That evening, she came to my house and went on a long rant about how I was trying to get Matt back and I was a stalker. After that, I started seeing Matt a lot and he wouldn't stop making conversation with me. Things got really heated a few days ago when Claire caught Matt talking to me. She screamed at me in the middle of the road and it was super embarrassing. Claire's friends and family have now taken to social media to pressure me to move because I'm ruining a good marriage. Here's where I might be the arsehole. Our lease is month to month, so we could technically move as soon as we find a new place, but I don't want to. I feel like they already stole one house from me. Why should I give this one up too? I've also asked Matt, and even my fiance has told him to stop talking to me, but I can't control what he does. Am I the arsehole? To me, in this story, it just sounds like Matt's having some regrets for what he's done. Oopsie. And Claire knows this, and Claire can see that, she slowly might be losing him, so she's acting out on this. And I mean, I can have my petty side, and I think I might be enjoying this just a little bit. They cheated on you, whether I'm assuming Claire knew about you at the time. And yeah, she's confronting you, so she must have known about you previously. So yeah, I think I'd quite enjoy making Claire sweat and, rubbing it in Matt's face at the same time. But that's the petty side of me. I should rise above it in reality. But don't move at all. You're totally entitled to be down that street and, do your own thing. As you said, they can't force you from moving from place to place. It's ridiculous. But Kat says, not the arsehole. It sounds like Matt's not over you and Claire knows it. You're not obligated to move because they can't stand you being there. If he wanted to keep you, he shouldn't have cheated. And if she didn't want a cheating husband, she shouldn't have married a known cheater. This is 100% not your problem. And Jiniyuki says, not the arsehole. They don't owe the neighborhood, JC. Seems like Claire is the one who can't move on. Probably insecure because she was once a third party. And quotes, Claire's friends and family have now taken to social media to pressure me to move because I'm ruining a good marriage. If talking to an ex from 4 years ago, especially when said party has moved on, is something that can ruin a marriage, newsflash honey, it's not good at all. And Bootleg Moon says, not the arsehole. I would enjoy making Claire sweat, quite frankly. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And Urson Black says, not the arsehole. If anything, Matt is the arsehole. If Matt attempts to talk to you, ignore him. If I had to guess, things are not rosy with Matt and his wife, and he's using you to irritate her. Don't allow yourself to be drawn into this game. And Salty Ad says, why are you engaging with either of these people? Why would you want to be involved in this drama? Don't talk to either of them. Don't follow them on Facebook. You are being an active participant in this high school level bullshit. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you move out to save the drama? Would you not contact them? Or would you be, you know, a little bit petty like me? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Undefined Loser. Am I the arsehole for telling someone my scars were from a fire when they weren't? 25 male, and transgender, female to male. Around 2 years ago, I got phalloplasty. It's a surgery to turn female genitalia into male genitalia. Being vague, they take the skin from my arm to make a dick. It's left me with a big scar throughout my arm. It's never been much of an issue though. About a few weeks ago, a lady, let's call her Kate, joined my team. She was a bit entitled at first. She thought she deserved to know anything and everything whenever she wanted to, like your wage, why you divorce your wife, you get the idea. I usually wear long sleeve shirts so my scar isn't really visible, yet I decided to wear a t-shirt to work. All my other clothes were dirty, lol. Kate came up to me and asked me what was that huge scar on my arm. To be honest, I don't like telling people I'm trans, it just always gives them a reason to treat me like shit and see me as less of a man. So I told her when I was young I got into a tragic fire from oil that was on my arm. Random, I know, lol. She believed me and actually apologised sincerely, I think. Next day I come into work and everyone is asking me about it. No one is nosy, so no one bothered to ask, so I just knew it was Kate. I went up to her and asked why she thought it was important to tell everyone for no reason. She said that everyone was probably curious and it was a long time ago. She even said that people had pity for me because of the fire. I yelled at her and told her there was never a fire and I just wanted to keep nosy bitches like her away from what actually happened. She got angry and said that using a traumatic event isn't something to lie about. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? I think that OP in this situation was pretty much backed into a corner, you know, and they didn't want to reveal those personal things about themselves, so they came up with this story, and I can't blame them. I know someone, you know, who had a real traumatic past, and they got self-harm scars and stuff like that, and they make up various excuses as to why they have those scars, because they're pretty obvious, and they don't want to reveal, you know, what they went through and things like that. So I cannot blame OP in this situation, and this sort of person in a company is an absolute nightmare, and you need to talk to HR about that immediately, because otherwise it's only going to get worse in my opinion. But Peculiar Humanoid says, not the arsehole, but I'd make sure to document all interactions with Kate from now on. Something about this screams a future HR meeting. There you go. And Special Francine says, not the arsehole, it's up to you whether or not you want to share why you have your scars. I have numerous scars from self-harm. Some people I'm happy to tell, some people not. Even some days I do or don't feel like sharing. Personally, I just change the subject, but if you're more comfortable saying fire, that's your choice, especially as outing yourself could be dangerous. Kate is a massive ass. I love people asking about their lives, but also respect their privacy. That means stopping if someone asked, but more importantly, not talking about the people behind their back. If other people wanted to know, they would have asked. She should have spread it around. And now with that one, I'm going to turn it straight to you guys. What would you do in that situation if you was in an OP situation? Like regarding any scars and you made up a story, you know, about how you got them. Would you feel comfortable doing that or wouldn't you? And do you think OP is the arsehole or not? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Vivian Campbell. Am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend it isn't his decision to make regarding my baby sister moving in? My boyfriend and I have been together for 5 years. Up until 4 months ago, we lived separately due to going to different colleges. Now that everything is remote, he moved in with my roommate and I. My roommate and myself have a 4-bedroom flat for a little over 2 years, and everything in our home life has been great. Well, we ran into some conflict on the first time just recently. My boyfriend is one of those individuals who needs more space than most, I've gathered. I didn't realise he was like this prior to him moving in, due to us only hanging out and seeing each other every other weekend. However, I found that since he moved in, he needs silence from like 6 PM onwards. He doesn't like being talked to or anything, just be left alone 100% so he can play guitar in his own solitude. It doesn't bother me aside from the fact he all of a sudden has my room preoccupied until sometimes midnight, so I sleep on the couch sometimes, which doesn't necessarily bother me. However, my baby sister 16 just found out she's pregnant. My mum is a piece of work and very toxic. She refused to buy my sister condoms or get her on birth control because it's against her religion. Won't go into detail, but there's no way my sister can stay there, especially when the baby comes. My mum cannot be trusted, simply put, so I told my sister that I would take her in and help her out with getting a job, help her care for the baby, etc. I know my sister incredibly well and I'm almost positive that she would not under any circumstance take advantage of me, as she looks up to me a great deal, has always respected me and our closeness is incredible. If she does use me, well, we'll cross that bridge later. Anyway, I told her she could stay. My roommate was all for it and she loves my sister as well. My boyfriend on the other hand lost it, said that he wasn't going to be responsible for a child that isn't his and said that I should have discussed her moving in prior to giving her the okay. He said it's going to disrupt his solitude and he doesn't want to hear a baby crying all the time. Says my sister will use me because she's 16, young and naive. He then told me to tell her I've changed my mind. During this argument, he made out like I had no say because apparently he has taken it extremely personal and he's being selfish about the whole thing. So after 20 minutes of not getting a word in edgeways, I told him, you know what, it's not even your decision to make. Which of course set him off because it's his life too. If he made any valid concerns regarding it, I may have reconsidered. However, the fact that he made it all about him really ticked me off. I feel like an arsehole for cutting him out, but my sister is very near and dear to me and I want to help her. Am I the arsehole? In my opinion, your boyfriend became the arsehole as soon as you had to start sleeping on the couch so he could play guitar in his solitude. That's not how relationships work, my friend. So he is the arsehole regardless of anything else in my opinion. But Vampire Queen 69 says your sister will use you. You mean like forcing you to be silent for half the night or use you by forcing you to sleep on the couch because you can't use your bedroom. Not the arsehole. And Cat MC says, not the arsehole, your boyfriend was the arsehole even before the sister issue. You actually have to sleep on the couch some nights so he can sit in silence. What the fuck? But he's a mega arsehole for how he reacted to the sister's news. He's actually more worried about his quiet time than he is helping your sister when she's clearly in need. Fuck that, move her in and kick his ass out. An observant owler says, not the arsehole, as long as your roommate is comfortable with it, you're right. It's not your boyfriend's decision to make, and you feel strongly that you're doing the right thing. But OP, read your own post. It sounds like you don't even know this guy anymore. Why string yourself along? Badass Name says, info, is your boyfriend helping with the bills? Either way, not the arsehole. Your boyfriend seems a little too needy to have roommates, honestly. He needs to learn to compromise. Also, that's literally your sister in need. How can he expect you not to help her? And OP replies, he pays for part of the electric and his own food. Everything else is covered by me and my roommate. He has a terrible relationship with everyone in his family, so I think a lot of his ignorance is currently stemmed from the fact that he is either jealous of people who have good relationships with their family, or just expects everyone to hate their family because he does. I'm not sure. Since he moved in, I've seen him in a whole new light. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What should OP do in this situation? Does the boyfriend have any rights now he's been staying with them? Let us know in the comments below. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. The time out of your day, as I always say, is incredible of you to take the time, any time out of your day. You know, time is so important, and for you to sit there and listen to me is just amazing. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. It just, oh, tapping the heart again. It gets me going. It really gets me going. So thank you so much for what you do. You are literally changing everything for me right now, and it's down to you guys. So thank you so much. And I will see you, hopefully, if you enjoyed the content, of course, in the next one. Much love, guys. Goodbye.